What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about electric vehicles is about to change? And I'm not just talking about minor tweaks here and there. We're looking at game-changing updates that could literally reshape how you think about EVs, autonomous driving, and the entire automotive industry. From lightning-fast battery swaps that take less time than ordering your coffee, to trillion-dollar compensation packages that sound more like science fiction than reality. Buckle up, because this is going to be wild. Let's dive straight into what's happening right now in the world of electric vehicles. And trust me, some of this stuff is absolutely mind-blowing. So here's the deal. One of the biggest electric vehicle manufacturers out there just rolled out a massive software update for their angular, futuristic pickup truck. And honestly, it's about time. Version 11.1.5 of their autonomous driving system is finally bringing features that should have been there from day one. We're talking about the ability to start your self-driving journey with literally one tap. Just one. Gone are the days of fumbling through menus while you're trying to get somewhere. But here's where it gets interesting. The reverse functionality? Yeah, that wasn't working properly before. Imagine having a truck that can supposedly drive itself, but it can't figure out how to back up automatically. Kind of defeats the purpose, right? Well, now it can. They've also added what they're calling pull-in auto park, which basically means your truck can slide itself into a parking spot or your garage without you touching the wheel. Pretty slick. Now, if you've ever driven one of these electric trucks, you probably noticed something frustrating. The autonomous system had this nasty habit of drifting toward the shoulder of the road. Like, you'd be cruising along, thinking everything's fine, and suddenly you're getting way too friendly with the edge of the lane. Terrifying? Absolutely. But they claim they've fixed that now with improved shoulder drift control and better edge handling. We'll see if it actually works in real-world conditions, but the early reports are looking promising. Here's what's still missing, though, and this is where it gets a bit annoying. There's still no word on when the summoning feature is coming to this truck. You know, that thing where you can call your car to you from across the parking lot like you're in some futuristic movie? It's been available on other vehicles for ages, but this particular truck? Radio silence. The excuse is that the truck has all-wheel steering and a completely different architecture, which makes the software more complicated. Fair enough, but come on. If you're promising features, maybe figure out the technical challenges before announcing them to the world. On a brighter note, there's a new auto shift feature rolling out. This might sound boring, but hear me out. You just press the brake, and the vehicle automatically figures out which direction you want to go based on context. Doing a 3-point turn, it shifts automatically. It's one of those things you don't think you need until you have it, and then you can't imagine going back. Early testers who've gotten their hands on version 14 of the self-driving software are saying it's leagues ahead of version 13. So that's encouraging. Hopefully, it rolls out to everyone soon, because waiting for software updates when you've already paid for the feature is frustrating, to say the least. Now, let's talk about something that's going to make a lot of electric vehicle owners very happy. Extended battery warranties. Starting in 2026, you'll be able to extend your battery coverage beyond the standard 8-year limit. Right now, depending on which vehicle and trim level you have, you're looking at warranties ranging from 8 years or 100,000 miles to 8 years or 150,000 miles. That's pretty solid compared to traditional cars, but batteries are expensive, like really expensive. So having the option to extend that peace of mind, that's huge. The pricing isn't finalized yet, but analysts are estimating somewhere between $100 to $200 per month, depending on your specific vehicle and battery size. Now, that might sound steep, but consider this. If your battery pack fails outside of warranty, you could be looking at a replacement cost of $10,000 to $20,000 or more. Suddenly, a couple $100 a month doesn't seem so bad. Plus, these companies keep saying their batteries last way longer than the warranty period anyway, so this is essentially extra insurance for those who want it. They just introduced a 7-year, 70,000-mile propulsion warranty too, which is another layer of protection. Overall, it seems like the industry is finally acknowledging that people need long-term confidence in these vehicles if they're going to make the switch from gas guzzlers. Speaking of new vehicles, there's a high-performance version of a popular electric SUV that's about to hit American roads. You can already order it, but deliveries haven't started yet. However, people are starting to get notified about their delivery windows. One customer reported they could get theirs as early as mid-November, though it might stretch all the way to late December. Another person with a black one got a window, starting even earlier in November, though that's likely to get pushed back a bit. What makes this particular version exciting is that it's the first vehicle in the United States to come with adjustable leg support and a larger center touchscreen. These features have been available in other markets for a while, so American buyers have been feeling a bit left out. Not anymore. Now, here's where things get a bit tricky with pricing. Lease prices officially increased at the beginning of November, just like they said they would. For the mid-range electric SUV with rear-wheel drive, leases now start at $479 per month. The all-wheel drive version jumps to $569 per month. But here's the kicker. On the website, they're labeling these prices as for a limited time. That's corporate speak for prices are probably going up again soon. They wouldn't say limited time if a price drop was coming. That's just business 101. The smaller sedan is a bit more affordable to lease. The rear-wheel drive version starts at $329 per month. All-wheel drive is $459, and a performance version is $779. Again, all listed as limited time pricing. The futuristic truck, $729 per month to lease. If you're buying instead of leasing, there are some decent interest rate deals available right now. The SUV has 3.99% APR on most trims, and the sedan has 2.99% APR on most versions. It's interesting to watch all this pricing shuffle around because the newest, most basic version of the sedan isn't getting these discounts even though it probably should. But it's so new that they're still ramping up production. Speaking of which, production is in full swing at their Texas factory, but I'm genuinely curious how well this base model is going to sell. It seems like one of those vehicles that might not be super popular at its current price point. Maybe they're planning to use a bunch of them for their autonomous taxi network, although that doesn't quite make sense either, because the car doesn't have a rear screen for passengers. Time will tell. Before we go any further, let's talk about something practical. You know what nobody thinks about when they buy an electric vehicle? Floor mats. Seriously, you spend $50, $60, maybe $80,000 on a car, and then you realize the included floor mats are basically garbage. They're thin carpet that stains easily, they're hard to clean, and they only cover the footwells. Not exactly premium. That's where quality all-weather floor mats come in. The good ones are precision designed to fit your specific vehicle perfectly. They're heavy-duty enough to handle any weather, and they actually protect your interior investment. If you're someone who hauls gear, maybe you got kids who spill juice boxes, or you live somewhere with actual seasons where snow and mud are a thing, these are game changers. They're stain-resistant, waterproof, and slip-resistant. Spill something? Just vacuum it up, rinse it off, or wipe it down. Takes seconds. The premium options use TP material instead of traditional rubber, which means they're more flexible, more durable, and they won't crack or deform even with heavy use. Plus, TP is fully recyclable and free from harmful chemicals, so you're not filling your car with toxic fumes every time the sun heats things up. Look for ones that offer good coverage, easy cleaning, and a sleek design that actually makes your interior look better, not worse. All right, now let's talk about something that's absolutely bonkers. There's a shareholder vote happening that could result in a compensation package worth up to $1 trillion over the next decade. Yeah, you read that right. $1 trillion with AT. We're talking about 423.7 million shares split into 12 separate chunks. And the CEO only gets them if the company hits absolutely insane milestones. What kind of milestones are we talking about? Try an $8.5 trillion market cap, delivering 20 million vehicles annually, operating 1 million autonomous taxis, $400 billion in adjusted earnings. These aren't just ambitious goals. These are moonshot targets that would fundamentally reshape the entire automotive industry, and then some. Unsurprisingly, some major institutional investors think this is way too much money for one person, no matter how visionary they are. But others are voting yes specifically because of how difficult these milestones are to achieve. If the company hits all these targets, shareholders are going to be so wealthy that they probably won't care about the CEO getting paid handsomely too. It's a high-risk, High reward situation. Here's where it gets dramatic. The CEO basically said that if this compensation package doesn't get approved, he might not stick around. He literally asked which other automotive CEO people would prefer running the company instead, then said it won't be him. Talk about playing hardball with your shareholders. The vote results are coming in right about now, so we'll see what happens. But either way, it shows just how ambitious this company's plans are for the future. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the competition, because things are heating up globally. There's a Chinese automaker that's starting to absolutely dominate in certain markets, particularly in the United Kingdom. In October alone, they registered nearly 7 times more new vehicles than their main American competitor. 7 times. Year to date, their registrations jumped more than 6-fold, while the American company's numbers actually declined by about 4.5%. Part of this is because the Chinese manufacturer is newer to that market, so they're growing from a smaller base. But the real story here is that they're offering more affordable electric vehicles. The American company is mostly selling their premium versions in these markets, which means they're competing on price with one hand tied behind their back. They might need to get more aggressive with their pricing strategy if they want to maintain market share in places like the UK and Europe. The autonomous taxi race is also getting incredibly competitive, and a lot of people don't realize just how far ahead some companies are. Everyone focuses on the big-name electric vehicle manufacturer because they've got millions of cars on the road collecting data. But when you look at who's actually operating driverless taxis without safety monitors right now, one company absolutely dominates, and they're expanding fast. They just announced plans to launch commercial driverless taxi services in 3 new cities very soon. First up is San Diego, California, then Las Vegas, Nevada, and finally, Detroit, Michigan. Las Vegas is particularly interesting because there are already several autonomous vehicle companies testing there. It's become something of a hub for this technology, so it makes total sense that the big player would want a piece of that action. They haven't given an exact launch date yet, but they said rollout is expected next year. They're currently operating in 5 U.S. cities: San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Austin, and Atlanta. So adding 3 more cities is a significant expansion. Of course, they still need regulatory approvals for these new markets. California already gave them a license for autonomous ride-hailing, but Nevada and Michigan each have their own requirements. Michigan needs a transportation network company permit. Nevada needs testing approval from their DMV. They're also planning to add a new vehicle model to their fleet. It's from a Chinese manufacturer and uses their 6th-generation autonomous technology, which should make it more cost-efficient and better suited for taxi operations than their current vehicles. The long-term plan is even more ambitious. They've mentioned future launches in Boston, Seattle, Denver, Miami, New York City, and Washington, D.C. Imagine hailing a driverless taxi in Manhattan. That's the future we're heading toward, and it's coming faster than most people realize. Meanwhile, one of the scrappier American electric vehicle manufacturers just announced their latest quarterly results, and there's some genuinely exciting news. They delivered over 13,000 vehicles in the 3rd quarter of 2025, up from about 10,000 in the 2nd quarter. Revenue hit $1.56 billion, which is a 78% jump year over year. Most of that came from vehicle sales, but over $400 million came from software and services, which is a growing part of their business model. Here's the cool part. They actually turned a gross profit of $24 million. Now, their automotive division is still losing money, about $130 million in that quarter, but it's improving year over year. Progress is progress, especially for a company that's still relatively young and trying to scale up production. The really big news is about their more affordable vehicle that's supposed to compete with the mainstream electric SUVs. They're saying assembly facilities are complete, validation build are underway, and deliveries are targeted for early 2026. That's right around the corner. This is their attempt to capture the mass market with a boxier design that people seem to really love. The question isn't whether people want it, it's whether they can build enough of them and actually make money doing it. They're planning to launch a special edition variant first in early 2026. It won't be the absolute top-spec tri-motor beast, but rather a twin-motor all-wheel drive setup. The base price is expected to land around $45,000, which puts it right in the sweet spot for a lot of buyers. One feature I'm particularly excited about is bidirectional charging, which means a vehicle can power your home or act as energy storage during an outage. More EVs need this capability, and it's great to see it becoming more common. They're expecting at least one configuration to have over 300 miles of range, which is plenty for most people's daily needs. I'm really curious what the $45,000 version will offer in terms of specs, range, acceleration, features. That's the version most people will actually buy, so it needs to be compelling. Interestingly, this company is also branching out into other ventures. They launched an AI company focused on industrial automation and an e-bike brand, both under different names. It's a different strategy than keeping everything under one corporate umbrella, but it might help them move faster and avoid some regulatory complications. Let's talk about a cool new navigation feature that's coming to one particular electric vehicle first. It's called Live Lane Guidance, and it uses the vehicle's forward-facing camera combined with AI to analyze road signs and lane markings in real time. The system figures out which lane you're in, and then gives you both visual and audio guidance on which lane you should be in for your route. On the driver display, you'll see the available lanes highlighted, plus a clear indicator of your current position and where you need to move. The whole point is to reduce driver stress and make those last-minute lane changes way less panic-inducing. It's rolling out first in the United States, then Sweden in the coming months through an over-the-air update. Eventually, it'll expand to more markets and more road types. This is part of an ongoing partnership between the automaker and a major tech company, and they've been integrating software together for years now. It's a pretty clever feature that bridges the physical world with digital navigation. Over in Detroit, one of the legacy American automakers just made a big announcement about affordable EVs. Their CEO said that vehicles starting around $30,000 are right around the corner. These will be built on an entirely new platform, designed specifically for cost efficiency and flexibility. They're calling it their universal EV platform, and they say sourcing is about 95% complete already. Equipment installation at their Louisville plant is starting this year. The first vehicle is expected to launch in 2027. It'll be a mid-size four-door vehicle, though not a traditional pickup truck. To keep costs down, they're using lithium iron phosphate batteries, which are less expensive than other battery chemistries. The goal is to actually make a profit on these $30,000 EVs, which will be a first for many automakers. They've had these plans for a while, but they're really accelerating now because of declining EV sales and the expiration of federal tax credits. I'm always skeptical when companies say affordable EVs are right around the corner. We've heard this before from multiple manufacturers, and then the vehicles either don't materialize or they end up costing way more than promised. So I'll get excited when I actually see these vehicles launching at scale and hitting that price point. Until then, cautious optimism. In the tech world, there's some massive news about AI infrastructure. One of the leading AI companies just signed a 7-year deal worth about $38 billion for cloud computing services. That's billion with a B. This gives them access to hundreds of thousands of high-end GPUs for training their AI models. What makes this particularly interesting is that this company recently restructured to remove their exclusive cloud provider arrangement with one tech giant, which opened the door for this new deal with another major player. Deployment of this compute capacity starts immediately, with full planned capacity by the end of 2026 and potential expansion into 2027 and beyond. This is basically a huge endorsement of one cloud provider's ability to handle cutting-edge AI workloads. It shows they're a legitimate competitor in this space, not just a secondary option. AI compute infrastructure is going to be one of the most important battlegrounds in tech over the next decade, so it'll be fascinating to see how this plays out. Finally, let's end with something absolutely wild from China. There's an electric vehicle manufacturer over there that just launched a car with battery swapping capability that can fully change the battery in 99 seconds, less than 2 minutes. You pull into the swapping station. The system automatically removes your depleted battery and installs a fresh one, and you're back on the road before you could even finish filling up a gas tank. This particular vehicle uses a 54 kilowatt-hour battery with roughly 310 miles of range, though that's on China's generous testing cycle, so real-world range would be less. Here's the crazy part. This isn't some ultra-premium luxury vehicle. The starting price is just $14,000. $14,000. It's a smaller car, comparable to something like a compact hatchback. But still, battery swapping technology at that price point is remarkable. If you prefer traditional charging, the car still supports that too. They say it can charge from 30% to 80% in about 26 minutes, which is respectable. Several automakers in China are partnering with this battery swapping company, so it'll be interesting to see if this technology actually scales up. One major American EV manufacturer talked about doing battery swapping years ago, but abandoned it because they didn't think it was scalable in the U.S. market. China might prove them wrong. Battery swapping probably isn't necessary for most EV owners who can charge at home overnight, but for people without home charging or for commercial fleet vehicles that need maximum uptime, it could be a game changer. Imagine taxi drivers or delivery vehicles that can swap batteries faster than refueling with gas. That's a compelling value proposition. So there you have it. The electric vehicle industry is moving at lightning speed right now. We got software updates fixing long-standing issues, extended warranties giving owners peace of mind, new affordable models coming to market, autonomous taxi services expanding to new cities, and wild innovations like 99-second battery swaps. It's an incredibly exciting time to be watching this space. The transition to electric is happening whether the skeptics like it or not, and the competition is fierce, which is great for consumers. Lower prices, better technology, more choices. That's what competition brings. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to stay on top of everything happening in the EV world, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. There's always something new happening, and trust me, you don't want to fall behind. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, keep your batteries charged and your eyes on the road.